wanted this.
Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
This is it. Don't get scared.
Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am your host, the Flick Pick, or you can call me John. Call me whatever you want, but thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a while. I skipped this weekend's live show, and I have a very good reason for that. And what was that reason? Well, Friday, I was feeling a little bit under the weather, a little bit tired, and with the flu going around, the super flu, I was afraid I was getting it, and I needed my vitamin C, my zinc, my magnesium, but most importantly, I needed my rest. So I skipped this Friday's live show, and plus, let's be honest with ourselves, first and foremost, there wasn't really shit to talk about. But tonight, we're talking about movies. So get your questions in, whatever you guys want me to talk about, suggestions, topics, opinions, type it in down below. But the main topics I want to talk about on this live show, I want to talk about the brand new Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer featuring Black Panther, and by Black Panther I mean his 90-pound sister, and Black Panther's dead, so he's actually not in this teaser trailer, but we're going to talk all about that. I have some theories along with the internet and Reddit. And then I want to talk about January movies. Now, typically when it comes to January, this is the dead zone of cinema. This is where movies go to die, a cold, harsh, brutal death. So that's typically what you get in January. Now, I have seen a couple January movies, and I'm going to talk all about Primate, and I'm also going to talk about Greenland 2, Migration. And I have not seen 28 Years Bone Temple yet. I have not seen it. I'm going to see it tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. I just went back and rewatched 28 Years Later last week, and I can't wait to see that 7-foot-tall big zombie ding-dong come back for more action, or at least I hope it does. I hope it's resurrected in the sequel, because that was the most dangerous thing in the zombie apocalypse, was just that 12-inch dangling man meat just coming at you. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine that man running at you? I would just lay on my belly and play dead. That's all you can do in a situation like that. Trust me. But most importantly, how are you guys doing? Thanks for joining me once again. And what do you say? We just dive into the topics. And once again, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, feel free to chime in along the way, and we will touch upon every single one of those. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yesterday we got a brand new teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday. Now, this is the latest in a series of teaser trailers. And when it comes to a marketing standpoint, I think it's a good idea. They're sort of telling these short little stories to kind of build up the anticipation, to give you some emotion. It's not just big explosions and stupid things happening. They're trying to get you to care about these characters once again. And I like things like that. I appreciate that. But the newest one yesterday kind of focused on Black Panther and Namor. And I figured we could just kind of watch this teaser trailer together. And by the way, Disney, don't give me a copyright claim for this. This is called fair use. I'm legally allowed to do this. Okay? So don't intrude upon my rights. I just want to talk about big bloated comic book movies because they're fun and make me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life. All right, so here it goes. So you have Shuri, who took up the Black Panther mantle. She's no Chadwick Boseman in my opinion, but what can you do? And then what happens is it sort of cuts to a deserty looking scene, and you have Namor. Now, my assumption, without doing much extensive research and watching this once earlier on the toilet, was this looks like Atlantis to me, Namor's kingdom. But Atlantis is supposed to be underwater. Spoilers. So this looks like a desert. So it looks like someone took that away from him. Or maybe this is like the worst case scenario. And Shuri goes to have a meeting with him. But the thing I liked most about this teaser was it's just like the thing looks so out of place. Like, what is he doing in this desert? Like, if the desert couldn't get any more dry and decrepit, let's add the Thing, who's one giant talking rock. And I like the Thing from Fantastic Four. I think that is the most accurate version of the Thing I've ever seen. I like the way he looks. It just feels like the most odd pairing I've ever seen. So the biggest question was what's going on in this? And then the last line in here. Anyway, the biggest theory going around on the internet is if you look at all the dead space in the framing of these trailers, it definitely looks like there's supposed to be more characters side by side. And it's like, you're telling me just the Thing showed up? No. There's somebody else there. Or at least that's the theory. And when it comes to Marvel trailers, that's been the case for the last 10 years. They digitally remove things from their trailers, not to spoil anything. But let's quickly break down all of these teaser trailers we've gotten over the last month from Marvel. All right. So the first one, you had Captain America, and he pulled up on a motorcycle, and he has a newborn baby. And the theme with that was life. And then we cut over to the next teaser trailer, which showcased Thor. And with Thor, the main message of that teaser was love and missing his daughter. And, you know, speaking of Thor, remember Thor Love and Thunder, that abomination against cinema? I'm really glad we're not going that route anymore in the MCU. I'm glad we're backing up from that. I'm also glad Jane Foster died. I know that's crazy to say, but I'm going to stand by it. I do. I think the series is much better without her around. And I would say my favorite teaser trailer was probably the one with Cyclops. And that one was more about death, because there's a line in there, what will people remember about you once you die, from Professor X. And I liked that. So you're picking up on the themes here, all right? You got a newborn, you have being born, then you have love, then you have death. And in this newest one with Shuri, you have sort of the afterlife. And what are the Russos trying to tell us? Now, the Russos had put on X that these aren't teasers, these are short stories, and they're hints to what's coming. So what do you guys say? Do you guys have any theories, opinions on this? Let me know down below. What are your opinions? Do you feel like they're giving us the stages of life? And what does it all mean? Does Doctor Doom make promises to people? Maybe he can restore what they've lost. Maybe they sell their soul to the devil, and that being Doctor Doom. I'm not quite sure. I am excited to watch Avengers Doomsday. It's probably it's in my top 5 most anticipated movies of this year. And it's crazy to say we are now in 2026. I keep forgetting that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we are here now. Cyclops is one of my favorite X-Men. Yeah, and when it comes to that Cyclops trailer, the best thing about that was, Cyclops is finally wearing that blue and yellow suit. Just... Why did Bryan Singer give us the X-Men in black pleather jumpsuits? Well, I can answer that question if you really think hard and long about who Bryan Singer is as a person. And he's a demented, crazy man who's a little bit too touchy with people. But anyway, I understand why he put all of his X-Men in pleather jumpsuits. That makes sense when I think about it. But I'm so glad that the X-Men will finally start looking like the X-Men. It only took 25 years in the X-Men cinematic universe to get there, but finally, Cyclops is wearing a blue and yellow suit, so I'm happy with that. No complaints. And that was easily my favorite as well. I just want to see him doing his blast power. Just give me that with him screaming. That's all I want to see. Nice John Cena hoodie. Thanks, man. My time is now. Yeah, I bought this for the Royal Rumble last January. I've only gotten to wear it 3 or 4 times. All right. Cyclops has the right suit on, absolutely. X-Men teaser was my favorite one. Mine as well. This newest one, it's I don't care. This might be an unpopular opinion. I'm going to stand by it. I don't care. I'm not really a big fan of Namor. I don't care. I don't care about the guy with elf ears that is the king of Atlantis. That doesn't entice me all that much. It's for me, Aquaman is the king of the sea, okay? And I know it's a completely different universe, but I don't care. I don't care about Namor. I know I'm supposed to pretend like I do. I just can't. His optic blast, yes. Yes. Cyclops' optic blast. I wish I had an optic blast, but speaking of that, do you mind if I put on my rose-tinted sunglasses? They just make everything look better. Okay, so let's dive into the next topic here. And the next topic we need to talk about, since it is January, and we're almost halfway through it, which is really crazy to think about, we have to talk about some January movies. Now, typically, this is the time where movies go to die, in the cold, bitter weather of January. And typically, this is where we get some of the worst movies of the year. When Hollywood doesn't know where else to put these big piles of shit, heaping, steaming piles of crap, well, they put them right in January. Now, with all of that said, sometimes in January, you get a nice little hidden gem. Every once in a while, it happens. But typically, the movies are mediocre, and there's nowhere else they belong. So I wanted to talk about a couple movies I've watched so far in January. And once again, I will see 28 Years Bone Temple tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. But the first one we have to talk about is the new movie, the newest chimpanzee monkey movie from Hollywood. And gosh, seems like at least once a year we get a monkey movie from Hollywood. It's like, if it's not Planet of the Apes or Nope, it's the newest movie, Primate. Now, going into Primate, I was sort of interested to check it out. I wasn't, it wasn't like my most anticipated movie of the year by any means, but I was like, it looks like a decent B-rate horror movie with some practical gore. And you do get a little bit of practical gore in this movie, and I appreciate things like this. You get a crazy chimpanzee who has rabies ripping people's faces off, and I enjoyed those moments, but they're very few and far between. And I would say they're a little too few and far between. Because there's moments and there's long, stagnant segments of this movie where it just feels like missed opportunity after missed opportunity. And I'm like, you have a killer chimpanzee on the loose at this really cool location. And the location that this movie primarily takes place in is at this mansion in a jungle setting on the side of a cliff with a swimming pool. It's a really cool location, so I feel like there's so much they could have done with it. But ultimately, what you get is you get a group of stupid 20-something-year-olds who are incompetent, and I would even go so far as to say mildly retarded. I know we can't use that word anymore, but it's the best descriptor I have right now. And every chance that they get to save themselves or grab a phone to call for help, every time they go to grab their phone, they pick it up and go, ah, and throw it on the ground and run away. It's like, it's just a chimp, okay? I feel like you could probably grab your phone and jump back in the swimming pool to outsmart it. Throw a banana at it. Do anything, okay? So I found the movie somewhat frustrating when I was watching it. But most importantly, when it comes to like a horror film that's supposed to have suspense and all this gore, and once again, I'm a huge fan of killer chimp movies. I love shit like that. But I will say this, the last one that really stood out to me from Hollywood it wasn't even the main focus of the movie. It was just a minute subplot. And that movie was Nope, that we got a couple years ago. And I thought that subplot with that 5-minute sequence of that killer chimp causing chaos and anarchy on the set of that TV show with a small child underneath the table in fear of their life that this chimp is going to rip their face off. I thought that 5-minute sequence in Nope was 10 times more compelling than this 90-minute movie about a killer chimp. And by the way, yes, this movie is 90 minutes long, but it feels so much longer than that because all the characters are just sort of boring and somewhat insufferable, and I just didn't care who lives or dies. And the other thing I have to mention about this movie, and it's not even a spoiler, it's a killer chimp movie, okay? There's not much to spoil about this, all right? There's not like a twist ending. But the way that the movie opens up was with one kill sequence that happens later on in the movie. And you could just tell that the executives or the producers gave notes on the movie after they had a test screening of it. And they're like, you know what? The first 38 minutes of this movie are really boring. I think you should take that one death sequence that happens towards the third act of the movie and put it in the first act of the movie. And that's what they do. They just tack it in there. It's so tacked in there, and then it cuts to the intro credits of the movie, and then the boring story starts to take place. Now, I know some people like this movie, and maybe if I watched this movie at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was suffering from insomnia and I watched it on Netflix when I had nothing better to do and I kind of fell asleep halfway through the movie and a week later I remember to watch the rest of it, maybe I would think it was fine. But ultimately, to me, this kind of just feels like a streaming movie that is instantly forgettable that you should probably watch on Shudder one day. So those are my thoughts on the movie Primate. I just feel like there was so much more they could have done with that concept. You know, I wanted to see this monkey truly just losing his shit and ripping people's faces off. I wanted this monkey to almost have superpowers to some degree. I wanted basically the Hulk, but in chimpanzee form. And by the way, on a quick side note, talking about chimpanzees, did you know we're only 5 to 2% different according to our DNA from chimpanzees? They're basically our distant cousins. And I think that's so bizarre and fascinating at the same time. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Primate. What did you guys think about the movie Primate? Let me know down below. Once you notice John's constant hand gestures, you can't unsee it. If I don't move my hands, I feel like I'm going to explode. All these words start bubbling up in my esophagus, and if I don't move my hands, they'll blow the top off my head, man. John, got a pet chimp. I wish I had a pet chimp. At this point, I've been on YouTube so long, please cancel me. Just give me a reason. John, didn't Bye Bye Man come out in January? It did, and that's exactly the quality of films you get in January, typically speaking. Who is your favorite X-Men, John? I mean, I know cinematically Wolverine has been done to death, but I always thought Wolverine was the coolest. I really do. I mean, when it goes back to the video games, the comic books, X-Men, the animated series from the 1990s, Wolverine was always my go-to character. I thought Cyclops was cool, but I never thought his personality was always all that intriguing. I always liked Magneto as far as a villain goes, and I think the ideology that Magneto would stand on, and I still abide by some of his ideology, why he hates humanity and wants to wipe them out. I'm like, I kind of understand where you're coming from, man, by all means. But I think Wolverine. Now, I definitely do think going forward, if we do eventually kind of wean off Hugh Jackman's version of Wolverine, I think there's room for a different take on Wolverine, a much grungier, dirtier, more animalistic like Wolverine. And, you know, Hugh Jackman for me always sort of came across like Clint Eastwood playing Wolverine, and there's nothing wrong with that. Great performance, top notch. But I think after 20 years of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I think we can do something else. Years ago, before Tom Hardy starred in like Fury Road and a multitude of other big movies, I always thought if Tom Hardy could bulk up like he did for Bane in The Dark Knight Returns, if we got Tom Hardy playing a grungier, dirtier, shorter, more stockier version of Wolverine, that's sort of what I wanted to see. But I'll take what I can get. Hey, John, I love your work. Just curious if you ever go back and watch movie fights appearances. I think it would make for a great watch along. I've went back over the years and watched a few of the movie fight episodes I was in. Sometimes I cringe. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, that was witty. But other times I'm like, I could do so much better now if I could go back to movie fights. I feel like I could do 10 times better than I did. But every once in a while I go back and watch those. And sometimes I go back and just watch shit like that because it's so surreal. It's like, yeah, I went out to LA. I shot movie fights. I did some other stuff. It was a really cool time in life. Okay, now let's go to the next January movie, and then we will dive into your questions and your topics, okay? One more thing I have to talk about when it comes to January movies. Has anyone watched the brand new January movie, Greenland 2, Migration? Because you probably shouldn't if you haven't. Now, first, let me say this. When it comes to the first Greenland movie that came out a couple years ago, I am what I would call a slut for disaster movies. Now, we don't get a lot of great disaster movies. Typically, we get more bad ones than good ones. I'm talking to you, Geostorm, or Moonfall, but I love a great disaster movie. And I feel like I wish we had more great movies in this genre. So when it comes to Greenland, I enjoyed the first movie. I love a somewhat grounded take, and I mean, I use the term grounded somewhat loosely, on the concept of a giant meteorite or comet headed towards Earth, and maybe our impending doom or extinction is upon us, and you have a family trying to survive. And by a family trying to survive, I mean Gerard Butler and his boring, stupid family. And his son is very bizarre. I don't know what's going on with his son. He kind of feels like he's slightly on the spectrum, but I'm not quite sure. I looked into it, but I couldn't get a verification on it. But anyway, when it comes to disaster movies, I have a question for you, and let me know down below before I continue talking about Greenland 2. What is your favorite disaster movie of all time? If I had to pick, I'd probably go with something like Twister, maybe. I think Twister is like a solid 90s disaster movie that got it right. But if anyone says The Happening, I will block you from my channel from life, okay? And speaking of The Happening, hey, why don't you take an interest in science? And with all that said, I think we should look at this clip from The Happening, because just watching it makes me feel better about myself, and I think it'll make all of you feel better about yourselves too. So let's watch this clip before we continue on with the review, shall we?
If we're gonna die, I want you to know something. I was in the pharmacy a while ago. There was a really good-looking pharmacist behind the counter. Really good-looking. I went up and I asked her where the cough syrup was. I didn't even have a cough. And I almost bought it. And I'm talking about a completely superfluous bottle of cough syrup.
The title.
That's like $6.
Are you joking?
Now that's dialogue. If that is some of the best dialogue M. Night Shyamalan has ever written in his entire life. So superfluous. A $6 bottle of cough syrup. Damn. That is compelling stuff. But anyway, speaking of things that aren't compelling, let's continue on with Greenland 2. So I thought the first movie was fine, right? It came out to streaming, and that's kind of what the movie felt like. It felt like a somewhat watchable, competent, mildly entertaining streaming movie, right? And that's sort of where I think Greenland 2 should be. It shouldn't have went to theaters. It should have just went right to streaming. Because I did go see this. And I was hoping that it would be mildly entertaining. I didn't think it would be great, because when you watch the trailers for Greenland 2, you can just see like the B-rate CGI, all the mayhem and destruction. It just looks it looks like CG from 2005, okay? And I was fully aware of what I was getting myself into. But the first 10 minutes of the movie I thought were somewhat interesting, because you had Gerard Butler, and he's wearing like this hazmat suit to avoid radiation. He leaves the bunker that he's in, and he's looking for supplies. And the first 10 minutes of this movie sort of reminded me of the video game Ark Raiders, where you scavenge the wastelands for supplies. And I was like, if the movie were to focus more on this aspect, I think that would be a really cool tone and vibe for the movie. But no. Within 5 minutes, there's a big CGI electrical storm, and he runs away, and it kind of goes to crap from there. But I will say, I did like the location of the bunker that they were living in for the first act of the movie. I thought that was cool. And I love movies where characters live in a bunker underground, like 10 Cloverfield Lane with John Goodman. I love that movie because it takes place in a bunker with a crazy man who has board games and VHS tapes. Like, yes, please, I will go there. Listen, John Goodman, I will never disrespect you. I will follow the rules of the bunker and do as you say, because I will not end up in a vat of acid. So let's play a game of Monopoly, all right? So I like that aspect of it. But after that, after the first 25 minutes of this movie, it just turns into a series of repetitive, bombastic, bland, big CGI disaster sequences. And the best way to describe these are, you have the characters, they get stuck in a situation where they're the most unluckiest people on the planet. Like they're in the worst place on the entire planet Earth that they could be in at this one moment. And then 5 minutes later, they become the luckiest people where like the most luck that could ever happen to get out of a situation, it happens. And then they do that again and again and again. And there's one scene in this movie where they have to go over this crack in the earth, this gorge. And there's a lot of people trying to get over this gorge or whatever to safety. And it just feels like if you were to drive down the road, maybe you could find a bridge or something. But anyway, there's all these rickety ladders that they have to climb over. And of course, within 5 minutes of pulling up, things just start blowing up. So they're climbing over these rickety ladders as things blow up. And of course, you know, at the last second, when they get over the last rickety ladder, it falls into the ground. It kind of just felt like video game cutscenes or something. It just felt like random things happening. And then I will say this. The ending of the movie, to me, didn't make any logical sense. It felt like it was written by a child. It felt like ChatGPT just crafted this out one day and no one just cross-referenced it to see if it made sense. The destination where they go, and keep in mind, everywhere they go, there's like chaos ensuing. There's people trying to kill them and all kinds of crazy stuff. But the destination that they need to go, where it's like a pure utopian environment, it's just like nobody's there. It's like nobody wants to go there. There's literally a war happening like 5 miles away from it. But like no one decided to just walk 10 more minutes to go to this like place of rest and beauty. And it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, why are there not more people here? But everyone else is like out there starving to death and scraping by. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. And then the other thing about these people, Gerard Butler and his annoying generic family, every place they go, they encounter the nicest people that they could possibly encounter. It's like they come across like some old lady living in her house in London. And she's like, no, you guys go, save yourselves, take my car, take all my supplies. Here's a gun. Here, I'll just stay here and starve to death. It's like they're going to a place of utopia. Why don't you just, I don't know, call me crazy, tag along with them? And that same thing happens to like 3 other characters they encounter throughout the movie. It's just illogic and made no sense. So it's definitely a B-rate movie that belongs in January. And those are my thoughts on Greenland 2. All right, so those are all the main topics I wanted to talk about tonight. Now, if you guys have any questions, get them in right now. We will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We got one here from Logan CD who says, is there a good Gerard Butler movie? Yes, it's called 300. It came out in 2007. Have you seen Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles? Me and my girl are in the 2nd season. I never got into those, but I will say this. Speaking of James Cameron and Terminator, I did watch a YouTube video with James Cameron, and he was teaching a master class, and he was breaking down the way that he films things and directs things and the way he shot some of his sequences. It's really intriguing. If you're a fan of James Cameron, it's on YouTube. Just Google James Cameron Masterclass. It's like an hour and a half long. I thought it was really compelling stuff. Just the way his mind works when it comes to filming a movie. The ending was Land Before Time. You are right. It was Land Before Time, except Land Before Time is much more compelling and has more interesting characters. All right. Someone said their favorite disaster movie, Sharknado. Hey, I agree. Or Human Centipede. That could be a disaster. I mean, if someone shits in your mouth, I would call that a disaster, wouldn't you? Independence Day. I like Independence Day. I just think Twisters is a better movie. But I like me Independence Day. When it comes to Independence Day, my favorite line is, David, yeah, cable repairman. If they want HBO, they'll call you. I love it. John, are you going to watch Star Trek Fleet Academy? I hope not. I was never really big into the Star Trek series. I liked some of the newer movies, like the J.J. Abrams movie from 2009, but outside of that, I'm not a big Trekkie. All right, let me scroll back up here and we'll dive into some of your questions from earlier. So here we go. We got one here from TP who says, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? Well, thanks, butthead. The next one comes from Sebastian who says, better as Batman, Jonah Hill or Michael Cera? Listen, I think Jonah Hill could be Batman, and I think Michael Cera should be Robin. There you go. The next one comes from Sebastian as well. Rather rewatch Gladiator 2 or Roadhouse remake? Ooh, that is a great question. I would probably rather rewatch the Roadhouse remake, which is an abomination, and they're both terrible sequels that just bastardize the original source material. Gladiator 2 was such a decline in quality of what it should have been. I cannot revisit that. Now, when it comes to Roadhouse, say what you will about it, I think it is quintessential early 90s mayhem. So I did not like the remake, but at least it has Jake Gyllenhaal and they have Metallica music playing, and I could probably squeak through it. So I'm going to go with Roadhouse 2. The next one comes from TP, who also says, would you rather not watch any movie in 2026 at home or in theaters, or get a wedgie from John Campia and have 3C do a reaction video of it? Listen, you don't got to tempt me with a good time. I'll take a wedgie from John Campia, and if 3C Films wants to watch it, as I'm sure he would from a distance, that cuck, I'm just kidding. I say that with the most endearing, heartfelt, complimentary, whatever you got, whatever. He'll take the joke. But anyway, yeah, I'll do the latter because there's too many good movies coming out this year. All right, a wedgie is a small price to pay for glory. All right, let's go to the next one here. David, I gotta call my mother. I gotta call my lawyer. I'll forget my lawyer. John, have you watched Andor? I did watch the first half of the first season. I didn't finish it. I know. I just couldn't get into it. You know what the biggest detriment to Andor is? It's Andor. I just don't care about the main character. I think he's boring. It's like, oh, look at that guy that was in what was it? Rogue? Was it Rogue? Star Wars Rogue? What was that movie called? The 2017 Star Wars movie or 2016 Star Wars movie. Anyway, it's like, here's that generic, boring character that was in a movie once 10 years ago. Now let's make a series about him. I just don't think he's that interesting. So I did like the prison aspect and the backdrop of the prison that they were stuck in. I thought that was really cool, but Rogue One, yes. The best thing about Rogue One, let's be honest with ourselves, it was the reshot Darth Vader hallway sequence. That's the best thing about the movie. I watched that entire movie just so I can watch the 1-minute sequence with Darth Vader doing Darth Vader shit that I wish they could have done again, but they just, for some odd reason, Disney just won't give it to us. Most Star Wars Disney shows are death and boring. Yeah, I like the first couple seasons of Mandalorian. I thought those were great. John, are you happy Kathleen Kennedy is finally leaving Uranium Cranium? Well, she was an executive producer in a lot of great movies, man. If you go back to things like Jurassic Park, executive producer. But I will say, it feels like sometimes Kathleen Kennedy has been holding on to the coattails of much more talented directors and creative minds. So yeah, I don't feel like, listen, if they fired everyone involved with Star Wars after that abomination, the Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker, after that, now keep in mind, there was hundreds of people who said, yeah, let's do that. They greenlit that pile of shit and they fed it to us. And they said, eat it. You like it? It's good, right? After that, they should have fired everyone involved and hired all new talent and just started over from there. Just scrap everything. We don't care. This isn't working. Reboot it. Pretend like it never happened. It was a bad dream. Just pretend like Rey had a bad dream and that was Rise of Skywalker. And she wakes up in the desert and we just start from where The Force Awakens left off. But then again, that was a kind of a lackluster ending as well. So at this point, I feel like they should reboot it. Make prequels or something. I don't care. All right, let's go back here to some earlier questions. Here we go. This one comes from 2 hours ago, so thank you, Stan Adrian. And I hope this is going to be a fulfilling answer for you, because you have been waiting. Would you have trapped... I'm sorry. Would you have tapped out to Rusev's submission finisher after you insulted him in the movie theater watching It Chapter 2? Oh, yeah. He can put me in a submission move any day of the week, man. So, yeah, what he's referencing is when I saw It Chapter 2, when I lived in Alabama, I drove up to a press screening to watch It Chapter 2 in Nashville. And sitting 2 seats beside me were a couple WWE wrestlers. You had Rusev, and then you had Sheamus. And Sheamus is like a 6'5" Irish guy, red hair, jacked. And I talked to him for a couple minutes after the movie. And I do remember before the movie started, the Sheamus guy, if you're a WWE fan, you might know who that is. If not, just Google him. I can show you here if you want some visuals. But anyway, before the movie started, Sheamus was like, he asked his friend, he's like, how long is this movie? And they're like, it's like 3 hours long. He's like, fuck, that's long. So, and it was long. It was way too long for what it was. Pretend that was an Irish accent. So anyway, I did talk to them after the movie. It was really cool and really neat. So I will say this about Rusev. I am as tall as Rusev. Really wide, but I am as tall as he is. I have a picture on my Instagram from like 6 years ago, so I'm too lazy to go find it right now, though. All right, let's go to the next one here. And thanks for the question, man. Thank you so much. And by the way, Stan, you get a party popper. That's my finishing move, a party popper right to the face. All right, we got one here from Nickadug who says, John, I got super high to get ready for your live stream. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that dedication, sir. Anyway, I'm on a hybrid edible, gummy with THC and CBD. What kind of edibles do you like, and what's your favorite movie to watch while high? I need recommendations from the master himself. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never consumed narcotics once in my life. I'm pure of heart. But with all of that said, my recommendation would be, hypothetically, I live in Indiana, so we have a lot of Delta 8s and 10 hybrids. They basically taste like Sour Patch Kids. But I like watching like very epic, immersive movies. But with all that said, the last movie I watched, because I am going to see the play next month, is I watched The Shawshank Redemption for the first time in a couple years. And man, that is just perfection. I stand by it. That is how you make a movie. That is cinema. That makes me feel everything I want to feel. So anyway, with all that said, my name is Morgan Freeman. Let's go to the next question. And the next one comes from Alex McCutcheon, 1261, has become a member. Thanks, Alex. Thank you so much. Thank you. That deserves a party popper, Alex. Yay! Okay, the next one comes from Robert Giacinta, 6323. How's it going, Robert? Thanks for joining me once again. Started my first ever office job. Only been a week, and it's the most soulless thing I've ever been a part of. I don't know how anyone could live their whole life like this. Well, it depends on the kind of office environment you work in. But yes, every day I worked in a cubicle, I thought to myself, well, life can't get any worse than this. And I've shared this story once and I'll share it again. I took so much inspiration from the movie Office Space. And when I worked in an office, I took the advice that Peter gives in Office Space. And that advice, and I don't recommend everyone taking this. It's not for the weak. But don't ever quit your job. Just stop going. And that's what I did. So yeah, man, working in a cubicle sucks. I've learned that. I've learned that about myself. I can't do it. But good luck with the job. I hope it I hope it works out for you, man. Just don't burn the place down. That's my only recommendation. All right, Alex McCutcheon, back at it again, says, John, love you, brother. I know you don't know us viewers, but you mean a lot to us. Well, Alex, I know I don't know a lot of you, and I would like to know all of you. I like to think I know you to some degree. And you know me more than I'll probably know you, and it's kind of a weird dynamic, isn't it? But I like to think we're all family. We're intermingled in this symbiotic relationship. Whatever that means. Just know you have a special place in my heart, Alex. And that does mean a lot, man. Not even joking around. That does mean a lot. So thank you so much, Alex. And here's a party popper. Here, open up. 3, 2, 1. That's my love. A cheap Chinese party popper. Right in your mouth. Thanks, Alex. You're too good to me, Alex. You're too good to me. You guys are all too good to me. I thank you guys for that. I miss you guys. Just skipping the live show for a couple of days. I get these weird tingles. I'm like, I gotta talk. They need me. All right, James Dosher, who has been a member for 50 months. Thank you so much, James. And James has a glorious question here. James's question is, I kind of check out Marvel as well as superhero movies in general. What did you mean by that, James? Can you elaborate on that? Do you mean you checked out of them? Like, are you checked out of superhero movies? I completely understand the fatigue. I do. When you're inundated with 15 new comic book movies every year, eventually you do check out. Now, don't get me wrong. I like the Avengers movies. I think they're fun popcorn entertainment. For me to crap on those movies would be a disservice and a blatant lie. I look forward to those movies. I do. They're fun theater experiences. Now, most of the Marvel movies in between those movies, yeah. But really, and it's really unfortunate because I was hoping with the new DCU, we would get grittier comic book movies. And unfortunately, with James Gunn's Superman, it feels like they're even getting more glossy and more polished than Marvel movies, which is like the opposite side of the spectrum I want cinema to be on when talking about comic book superheroes. Really, just to be honest with you, I'm just waiting for the Batman 2 to come out. Just give me that shit. That's what I want. That's what I need. That's my preference. But what do you guys say? Yeah, the Winter Soldier was great. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I know what you meant, James. I was picking up what you're putting down. Jacka says, I've been watching all of your old videos. Very nostalgic. I miss the old Best Buy. Yeah, you and me both. I like to think I didn't change. I didn't. Society changed. The world changed. It went and got itself in one big rush. And now nothing matters as much as it used to. Yeah, I miss going to Best Buy and picking up those little optical discs and smelling the fresh plastic. I miss shit like that. I do. And I'll be honest with you guys. I have a local physical media store called Mega Replay. And I go there probably at least once a week, at least, because it just centers me. It takes me to my happy place. It's almost like going back in time to 2010. And I love it. And if they ever get rid of Mega Replay in my city, I truly feel like I'm going to go on like a crash course of depression. Like, I need it. They're going to rip my heart out if they take that away. I like just going in there, looking at shit. Sometimes I don't buy anything. Sometimes I do. But I love going in there and just browsing for 10 or 15 minutes. It's perfection. It's beauty. It's euphoria. And speaking of euphoria, did you guys see the new Euphoria trailer with Sydney Sweeney? Holy shit. They know what they're doing with her. They know what they're doing. And good for her. Logo Face says, have you ever had a paranormal experience? I don't know if I've had a paranormal experience. I will just say, sometimes in life, with some of the luck I've had, just being in the right place at the right time, or being in the wrong place at the right time, or the wrong time in the right place. However you want to look at it, the amount of times I've almost missed an opportunity by seconds, or the amount of times if I had been in one place a little bit longer than I should have, maybe that would have been very detrimental to my life. I don't know if luck like that just happens coincidentally, or maybe there's some kind of electricity in the air that guides us to certain places. But in that regard, I would say, is that paranormal? I don't know. So have I ever been, haunted by a ghost? No. Would I like to be? Maybe. Logan CD says, I think physical media will make a comeback eventually. Yeah, going back to my story, the one thing I did want to touch upon was every time I go into Mega Replay, it's always busy. There's always a line of people buying shit. There's probably always like 30 people in the store looking at movies, video games, what have you. It's always busy, which is good. It shows that there isn't a huge following of physical media and video games. And I'll take a niche. I'll take a strong niche any day, as long as it survives. And I feel like that's sort of what physical media is becoming. And that's fine by me, as long as it doesn't completely get eradicated. John will be haunted by Patrick Swayze. Hey, I would be okay with that. The movie Ghost, oh, I love it. As long as Whoopi Goldberg can help me. I guarantee 90% of people watching right now are like, what is Ghost? What are you talking about? That's what I talk about, random 90s movies, okay? That's what I do. Okay, the next one comes from... And by the way, James Dozier, here's your party popper, if I didn't give it to you. Let's go to the next one here, and the next one comes from Walt Jr.'s Breakfast. I want pancakes! And here it goes. You should change your name to just, I want pancakes. Is Bronson more rewatchable than Clockwork Orange? Well, I don't think either are all that rewatchable in my opinion. And I've seen both movies. I've seen Clockwork Orange probably like 2 times in my life. I've watched Bronson once. Bronson has a really cool concept. I like Tom Hardy's traps in it. I like when he oils himself up and he's like, I'm putting on my armor. I like that. But I probably wouldn't rewatch the movie anytime soon. So I think Clockwork Orange is definitely the superior movie of the two. Definitely a bit more unsettling. But yeah, I'd go with that. So thanks for the question, Walt Jr.'s Breakfast. Let's give you a party popper. Let's blow this one up in there. 3, 2, 1. All right. Got another one here. We got one from Cali 2 Zone 32. And the question is, I'm going back to school for documentary filmmaking starting next week. Would love to hear your advice from one of my biggest influences. You're my favorite. Your favorite doc film? Well, thanks for that. Listen, I don't know what advice to give you on becoming a documentary filmmaker. I have none to give you. I would just say, by all means, go to school for it. But do you necessarily need to go to school for it? Or can you just pick up a camera and maybe make a nice 30-minute documentary on something that's interesting to you or obtainable? Is that possible? Could you do it? I'd recommend just trying that. And keep in mind, you can upload that to YouTube. You can upload it to, I believe you can upload it to like Amazon and people can watch it or pay for it. So I would do that. Just pick a topic you're interested in and go make a short documentary about it. But my favorite documentary film, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one of those documentaries that was always compelling to me. And there was like 3 parts to the documentary series. And that was the West Memphis 3 documentary series about 3 teenage boys in Arkansas that were accused of killing 3 small boys back in the early 1990s. And there's a lot of debate if they did it or didn't do it. And if you follow that docuseries, it's pretty dark and twisted, and it definitely has an interesting ending. But I always was really interested in watching that. And the first time I watched it was on HBO back in like probably 1996 when it came out. And I remember watching this documentary series at like 3 o'clock in the morning on some Saturday. And that's the kind of kid I was. Back in 1996, I was probably, I don't know, like 10 years old, I think. And I was watching documentaries about the West Memphis 3. And it's pretty dark. So that's always one of those documentaries that I always found really interesting. Yeah, Paradise Lost, yes. Yeah, there's 3 parts to it. I definitely recommend it. It's really fascinating stuff. And the biggest question you have to ask yourself is, did they do it or didn't they do it? There's a lot of conflicting evidence. Logan says, I think once streaming services get too expensive, then physical media and collecting will get big. Yeah, it's getting to a point where I think, and maybe not, but this is just my assumption, and this is just random shit from my mouth to you, but it's just getting to a point when it comes to streaming services. It's like, okay, so to watch everything I want to watch, I now have to have 17 streaming services and spend $275 a month. And typically I spend more time looking for something to watch than I do watching it. And half the time, 90% of these streaming services all share the same content outside of some exclusive shit. And then eventually, once Netflix acquires Warner Brothers, if that's happening, they will be the end-all, be-all of streaming services. So will you really need an extra 17 streaming services? And at the end of the day, you don't own any of this shit. You can't just watch a movie whenever you want to watch it. And I'm talking to you, Amazon Prime, you dirty sons of bitches, and I hope you burn in hell for your sins against humanity. Because let me know down below if you've ever felt this amount of pain and agony. You're scrolling through Amazon Prime for like 20 minutes, and the navigation to pick what you want to watch is just terrible. It feels like a blind man put together the way that their menus to pick movies work. And you look for 25 minutes, and you find the thing that you want to watch, and you click it, and it's like, oh, you can watch this for $17.99. And it's like every other day that time has ever existed since the start of the universe. That was a free movie to watch on every streaming platform except for the day that you want to watch it. Now I have to pay $4.99 to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I know what you're thinking. John, don't you own the movie? Yes, I do own Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I own the Blu-ray and I own the 4K, but that's besides the point. I'm laying in bed. I don't have any pants on. I just want to watch it. But now I have to pay $5 to watch it. Blasphemy. So yes, with all that said, I do think streaming will come back, and it should come, I think physical media will come back, and it should come back. You know, I always recommend this to people. You don't need to buy 5,000 movies for your movie collection, but I will say this. If there's movies that you love and enjoy and if they have any rewatchability to you, buy them. Put them on your shelf, because you are at the mercy of corporate greed. One day it might be there, and the next day it might not ever be there again. Who knows? All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from and by the way, Cali 2 Zones Cali 2 Zona, I keep saying your name wrong. Here's your party popper. And good luck with becoming a filmmaker. All right, the next one comes from Logan CD once again. Man, you're killing us tonight. All right, here it goes, Logan. Thoughts on Euphoria Season 3 trailer? I don't know, John. It looks like GTA 6, and they are running out of compelling ideas. Listen, the only compelling idea that series needs, Sydney Sweeney starts an OnlyFans. That subplot alone is enough to get 75 million people watching it. They know what they're doing, and that's fine. They know, and that's okay. So, I like Euphoria Season 1 and 2. I do. It's a show that it took me 4 or 5 years to get around to watching it, and once I did, I was like, that's a pretty fun series. It's definitely dark and twisted, The character Tyler, the guy who, whatever his name is, played Frankenstein, he kind of has like a Patrick Bateman vibe to him. So I like it. So yeah, that trailer was definitely something though, man. It they know what they're doing. But anyway, thanks for the question. And you also get a party popper. All right, the next one comes from, and by the way, any question $5 or over gets a party popper as my thanks to you. And by the way, I will say this about the party poppers. I went to Walmart the other day to buy more party poppers. I could only find 2 bags of them. 2 measly bags? What is this? Anyway. Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings. How's it going, Joey? The monkey or primate, what did you like better? Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the monkey movie. Yeah, another killer monkey movie. I completely forgot about that. I honestly think I liked the monkey more. I think it was just more fun. I think the acting and the characters were slightly better. I thought some of the death scenes were slightly more intriguing. And the movie was instantly forgettable. I'll never watch it again. But I think it was light years better than Primate. You made a phony phone call to Ed Rooney? Yeah, look up Ed Rooney now. That's somebody you don't want to make a phone call to. And you also don't want in the vicinity of your children. Yes, he was arrested for crimes against humanity that we cannot speak of. Look it up. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock. How's it going, Skylar? Are you looking forward to The Death of Robin Hood starring Hugh Jackman? A washed-out anti-hero seeks peace but finds redemption instead. It's giving me Logan vibes. Yeah, it's giving me some Logan vibes too. Did the trailer officially come out? I have not. I didn't watch the trailer for it. It's an A24 movie. Oh, the trailer. I did not watch this trailer. It came out like a week ago.
You're smart.
Shut up. Let's watch the trailer together. So I will say this about Robin Hood. I am a huge fan of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, more so than I probably should be. I think it's a great movie. You got Morgan Freeman, Kevin Costner. He's not even trying to do an English accent, and that's okay. I'm okay with things like that. But I think it's a fun, fantastical adventure movie that doesn't get enough credit. It's a great movie, and I think everyone should watch it at least once. But anyway, let's watch this trailer for the new Robin Hood movie starring Hugh Jackman. And hopefully they don't copyright me here, but here we go.
Would you like to know a secret? People speak of Robin Hood.
Got to pause it there to avoid copyright. What did you guys think about this trailer? Are you guys looking forward to this movie?
Tell us stories. They're all ours. He was not a hero. You were a murderous brigand.
Got to pause it because copyright.
We were monsters.
I might have to skip around. Sorry. I like some of the imagery. I like the visuals. I definitely buy Hugh Jackman as an older Robin Hood. Oh, it's from the director of A Quiet Place Day One. Okay. And Pig.
Hi. What's your name?
Kind of reminds me of the Northman. I'm wondering if this gets really A24-ish and gets all weird and artsy like the Northman did from Eggers. Maybe it won't.
Terrible.
I've killed so many I could not give you a count. It's a curse.
It looks like every action scene takes place in like dense fog. And I guess it does take place in the UK, so that it's not too much of a stretch, but
Bad people out there. I will keep you safe.
So I was looking forward to that movie. The trailer kind of just looks like, I've killed a lot of people. I will keep you safe one last time. Stab, stab, arrow, stab. I'll check it out. I have faith in it. If Hugh Jackman's in it, I'll definitely give it a chance. It's A24. It could be good. It could be a good time. All right. What do you guys think? Did you know Nightcrawler is coming to 4K? Yes, I did know Nightcrawler is coming to 4K. I did reserve the 4K Steelbook. Say what you will about the cover art. I did reserve it. It comes out. It doesn't come out in February. I think it does. I did reserve it. So when it gets shipped to my house, I'll do a quick review of it on the live show. So look out for that. Logo Face says, did you watch the Stranger Things documentary? I think it hurt them more than it helped. Yes. So that was almost going to be one of the main topics tonight, but heck, let's just do it. So I did watch the Stranger Things Netflix documentary about the final season. And I will say, this documentary, I don't know if they intentionally did it or if they were like, hey, we got to make this documentary to show you guys why some of this shit was so clunky and rushed this final season. And this documentary basically solidifies those exact things. It was rushed. The Duffer Bros didn't even have episode 8 written. They didn't have a screenplay for it when they started production on the final season. And if you watch the final season, and I was an advocate for the final season, I think it got more things right than it got wrong. And if anything, I think that final ending of the kids in the basement basically putting their childhoods back on the shelf before they rise up into adulthood and walk up those stairs. Listen, it gave me the feels. It made me cry like a little bitch, and I've rewatched that scene probably 25 times. I think that was perfection when it comes to the ending. Now, if you're still held up on them fighting the big giant spider, I understand those things. I knew it was going to get there somehow, some way. Was it a bit underwhelming in some regards? Yes. But that documentary, basically, they showed that, yeah, we did rush the ending. We were making it up as we went for that final episode. And there were some lines that they were talking about, like the one conversation that they were having in the writer's room about what the abyss should look like. And everyone's like, yeah, there should be bats up there or demodogs or demogorgons. And the one lady with purple hair, it's like, shut the fuck up. Don't talk unless spoken to because you don't have good ideas. And she's like, no, I think we have demogorgon fatigue. It's like, oh yeah, because we've seen a whopping 2 of them in the last 2 seasons. Oh, I'm so tired of them. The most dangerous asset that Vecna has. Let's not just put one of those up there. No. So anyway, the other thing I found really fascinating about that also to me felt rushed when I watched it, was the interior shots of that giant spider, the mind flare, where the final scene or final battle takes place. And when I was watching that, I was like, this kind of looks good, but it looks really bad at the same time when it comes to a set. And when you go to that interior shot of that giant spider up in the abyss, it has a sandy, flat floor. Like, I don't know about you. I've never been inside of a giant spider. I'd imagine it's kind of gooey and bumpy and just things are moving and crawling around. But no, it just looks like a temple in the desert with a sandy floor. And there was part of that documentary focused on that the Duffers didn't know what the hell they wanted to do. So the set designers didn't have enough time to design the sets. So they kind of had to like just slap shit together to get it done. And it shows in that final set piece. A bit underwhelming. So yeah, they definitely rushed some stuff. And once again, I'll give credit where credit's due. They got some things right, but man, yeah, you could really just see a lot of the incompetence when they in that documentary. And you're right, it didn't do a lot of favors in terms of like making them look like geniuses. It basically highlighted all the shortcomings that we notice as an audience or viewers who watched that final season, and we're like, oh, so that's the reason why that happened. Okay, got it. It's almost like Netflix like washing their hands, going, hey, we didn't do it. The Duffer Brothers did it. They had 3 years to write a script, and the one shot that they had of their laptop, I think they had like ChatGPT open on one of the tabs. So anyway, yeah, it was definitely an interesting documentary. I did actually just finish it a few hours ago. There were some insights I was interested in watching, but there's also some things that they skimmed over I wanted more info on, like just some more of the sequences and maybe more of the actor interviews on what they thought of what was happening. That would have been nice. But overall, it was definitely interesting to watch, but it's when it comes to like the production issues, that documentary definitely kind of solidified what everyone assumed. What did you guys think about it? Let me know down below. Those were some bland set pieces. Yes, they were. Like even the set piece with Jonathan and Nancy, where they're on the table breaking up with each other as all that goo comes in. Like they couldn't even get that right. Like the goo was way too watery and they had to CGI it. Little things like that. It's sad. They had all this time, all these years. Weren't they even formulating ending ideas? Makes no sense. That was the thing that I was thinking to myself. Like, I get that you're not going to have every exact detail ready to go, but you're telling me for 3 years you didn't just sit around and think, okay, here's how I want to end this 9-year-long run and 5-season show. You didn't even you didn't write it down somewhere, maybe? I don't know. It kind of felt like they had to tie up a lot of loose ends as quickly as they could. And there were other sequences or scenes in the show that we might not have even gotten if it was left up entirely to the Duffer Bros and their writing team. Like the scene with Noah Schnapp and Finn Wolfhard, where their characters have that moment on the tower. Because keep in mind, they are childhood best friends and they kind of needed that one moment. And that almost didn't even come to fruition. I think one of the actors went to them and said, hey, I think we should have this moment. And they wrote it into the screenplay. So, but with all of that said, though, watching it and the production and just how many different moving parts and pieces there are, it's crazy that shit gets done. Like when you spend an entire 3 days with 3 months of pre-production just to get one 5-minute shot done, that kind of stuff when it comes to like filmmaking or movies or TV shows, to me, like it looks so tedious and exhausting. Like you got to give credit where credit's due sometimes. You do. Like it looks really hard to make. And it did look like they were trying to be practical as much as they could to some regard throughout the series, which I appreciate, but yeah, it felt like that. The point of that documentary was they just hyper-focused on like the shit that they got wrong. For some odd reason, that felt like the narrative of that documentary. It was like less about embracing it and like we have to rush to the finish line. And it was like a weird like highlighted narrative of the documentary. It was like someone went out of their way to showcase it. So, Logan says the gray ooze was very suspect. Absolutely. Logo says, I heard that one of the Duffer Brothers' wives served as a ghostwriter for season 1 through 4, and they recently divorced, which maybe was the cause for subpar writing for season 5. It very well could be. Maybe they should have brought her back. I don't know. You should have waited to get your divorce until after season 5. All right, let's go to the next one here. And the next one comes from... Oh, gosh. Okay, I need to talk a little quicker with these questions. Oh, God. Okay, let me scroll up here. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds. Cali2Zone32 says, too bad Sean Chandler never got to do movie fights. Yeah, I think he would have enjoyed it. Today, I'm ranking all of my favorite movies that I've ranked 17 times, but today I'm going to rank the ranking of my favorite rankings of my top 5 movies that I've never ranked, so here it goes. I love me some Sean Chandler. Really nice guy. I've met Sean so many times. He's a super nice guy, man. Cali2Zone32 says, being a WWE fan, do you know who Daniel Cumiar is? Daniel Cumi? That sounds really familiar. Daniel Cormier? Oh, the UFC fight? Is he a UFC fighter? I've heard of the name. I don't keep up with the UFC whatsoever. So I'll watch it if it's on. I'll definitely check it out. I will eat hot wings and watch UFC anytime, but I've heard of the name. That's about all I know. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, if you were stranded on a tropical island like Castaway, which wrestling personality would be your Wilson? That's a good one. Which wrestling personality would be my... I'll take Rhea Ripley. How's it? No, I will take... I don't know. I don't know. Who do I want to be, an inanimate object, or are they going to be there like my Wilson and I just talk to them? I don't know. CM Punk? Maybe? I don't... Seems like kind of an asshole. I'm not quite sure. I'll take Rhea Ripley. How's that? Okay. And by the way, speaking of tropical island movies, I'm really looking forward to watching the movie Sin Help, directed by Sam Raimi, coming out in a couple weeks. That looks like a good January movie to me. Randy Savage? Oh yeah, got the videotape. Got the ice skates. Yeah. I'll take some Randy Savage. How's that? All right. The next one comes from Andy Kumar, 2817, who says, thoughts on J. Cole? He's this generation's Tupac. I don't even know who that is, sir. Who's J. Cole? I don't keep up with these Spotify rappers. I don't know who this is. He might be talented. I don't know. Maybe I've heard something he's done. I don't know. Hey, listen, I like The Weeknd, man. That's what I'm going with. I'm so out of touch with modern day music. Listen, I listen to movie soundtracks and scores. I've been listening to the F1 soundtrack or score in my car for like the last week, and it just makes me swerve in and out of traffic so precisely. I get everywhere. Like, if you listen to the F1 soundtrack in your car, you will get anywhere you're going at least 5 minutes quicker. I promise you. Who the hell's even that? I don't know, man. Some guy. Logan CD has become a member. I thought you were already a member, but either way, thanks, Logan. The next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, would a modern Waterworld sequel actually make more sense today than another Avatar sequel? I think either way, if you spend that amount of money on a movie that takes place primarily in water, which, by the way, any movie that has a production that takes place in the ocean just costs twice as much as any other movie that doesn't. I don't know if it would. Now, I think it's a fascinating idea. I would love to see a modern day retelling of Waterworld. Anytime I can see a man on his own on a raft drinking his own urine and having a little tomato plant as his best friend, I will watch that movie. I will. I would like to see it, but unfortunately, no. The closest we're getting to that is Avatar: The Way of Water, and that's it. But Waterworld, hey, at least we got it. It happened. Say what you will about the movie, but it's definitely an experience. If you've never seen Waterworld and you want a big cheesy action movie that costs way too much money, I think you should watch it. Watch it tonight. And then afterwards, you can thank me later. All right, the next one comes from Caleb. How's it going, Caleb? John, you rock. Can't listen to it. Gonna listen tomorrow when I work. What do you think is your biggest accomplishment? What about regrets? Hope you're doing well, my man. Well, Caleb, you can't regret things. You can't. You just got to move on with life and make tomorrow better than today was. But with all that said, my biggest accomplishment, well, I don't know. I got married. That was kind of cool. I live a nice, simple little life. I have everything I need. Now, is money always an issue? Yeah, we never have enough of it. Who does? But I think my biggest accomplishment, looking back on life, was starting YouTube. It really was. When I was a kid, I loved movies. I always wanted to do something revolving around movies, but on my own terms, talking about them, just kind of being on the in the universe of movies. And by starting YouTube, man, I got to interview actors, go to film festivals, get hundreds of opportunities. I met all kinds of cool people. I got to make a living talking about movies for over a decade. And, that to me is like my biggest accomplishment is just starting YouTube. Now, my biggest regret is also some of the things I didn't do on YouTube that I could have. There were a lot of shots that I never took when it comes to YouTube. I took some of them. I took some of the big ones, but there's a lot more I should have and could have done over the years, and maybe that would have amounted to more. Maybe it wouldn't have amounted to anything. I don't know. But so I guess that's my answer to your question. When I close my eyes at night, do I have some regrets? Yeah. But also, am I slightly fulfilled in some of the decisions I made? Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's the best answer I can give you. But on top of that, I can give you a party popper right now if you'd like. 3, 2, 1. So thanks for the question, Caleb. Thank you so much, man. Very generous of you and much appreciated, man. Thank you so much. Scream 7 trailer tomorrow. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the new Scream movie. I think it looks like a good time. It looks like a return to form to some degree. I like that. Listen, if for anything else, at least finally, after 30 years, they're bringing Stu's ass back to the franchise. John is a good egg. Well, thank you for that. Thank you so much. I try to be, man. I'm not for everybody, but the people who enjoy it, I'm here for you, okay? And that's what matters. You've grown a lot on your channel, and you have the best career of your own thing doing what you love. Awesome. Well, thanks for that. Yeah, I've looked back over my YouTube videos over the years, and the weird thing is, when you make videos for 15 years, you could go back and watch old videos of yourself, and you examine yourself, or at least I do. And I really watch, I literally examine my old videos and my personality and the shit I say, the way I examine when I watch a movie, when I want to give it a critical analysis. And I assure you, no one hates me more than me sometimes. But also, I think I say some funny, witty shit along the way. So it's always weird to go back and watch videos from 15 years ago. And you do grow. And watching yourself, you do learn from past mistakes. So, yeah, it's definitely kind of a surreal thing. And I do have some advice for you guys watching. If you guys don't want to make YouTube videos, this is just some weird advice, okay? Just hear me out for a second. Because this isn't a channel or a live show where we talk about movies. No. We also talk about life, okay? And I give you some guidance along the way. And maybe it's not the right advice, but it's advice. My recommendation to you is, even if you don't want to make videos or social media and you don't want to do any of that shit, hear me out for a second. Once a year, turn your phone on and just sit there and talk to your phone. Maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's 20 minutes, maybe it's an hour. Record a video of yourself talking to your phone once a year. Say everything that you want to say, everything that's happening in your life, the ups, the downs, the what have yous, what you want in life. Say all that shit to a video camera. Tuck it away, save it. You don't have to show anyone. Treat it like a little journal. And then once a year, you can go back and watch that and then make a new one and make a new one and make a new one. And you can go back and review this shit. And I promise you, by doing it, watching it, and reviewing yourself, you will grow from that. And that's free advice for you. And here's a party popper. A free one just for all of you. And that's coming from a guy not wearing any pants right now. Or don't do any of that shit. I don't care. Let's go to the next question. But you should. All right, let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock, who says, what movie did you find so disturbing that you never want to watch it again? For me, it's Clockwork Orange. Yeah, speaking of Clockwork Orange, there's another movie with sort of a similar scene in it, and that's called Irreversible. It's a French film. It's pretty dark. It's pretty sinister. It's pretty gross. It's pretty unsettling. And the first 15 minutes of that movie, you definitely don't want to watch it during a family movie night, if you know what I mean. It's not the kind of movie you make popcorn before you watch it. Or maybe some of you do, you sadomasochist. But anyway, we'll go with Irreversible. How's that? Or we'll just go with Primate. Because I never want to watch that again either. All right, James Doshier in here says, what are your thoughts on all of the James Bond films? For me, the only good Bond films I liked are GoldenEye and Casino Royale. I feel like a lot of the Bond films are products of their time and kind of hard to go back and watch today. Would you agree? Well, I think I would agree with what you're saying, but I will say this. The James Bond films over the course of the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, they definitely were products of their time. But I feel like that's what they have going for them. I kind of like going back and watching a time capsule. I think that's the fun thing about those movies. Like the 70s era of James Bond. It feels like a 70s James Bond. Now some of the movies suck. Yeah, some of them suck. Like Moonraker I was never a big fan of. View to Kill was never a big fan of. But like the 80s Bond, License to Kill, that's some gritty badass shit. I like that. Some of the Sean Connery 60s Bond films I enjoy. Now, I've only seen them like once. And when it comes to the Bond franchise, I've never been the biggest diehard fan of them. I like a good James Bond movie. But for me, like my first big introduction to James Bond that really stuck with me was GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan. Absolutely. I thought that was top notch. And then you had the video game to go coincide with it, which is probably the best IP video game ever made based on a movie. Just the score alone. Just thinking about the score to it, I got to listen to it. If you don't like the score to GoldenEye 64, I don't know if we can be friends. Let's listen to it, though. Shaken, not stirred. Check out this bad boy. Got the Aston Martin right here. I got this a couple years ago. Pretty sweet. The only thing I have a complaint on, though, with it is the side view mirrors like always come off, and I lost one of them, which really pisses me off. But anyway, really cool. But anyway, yeah. But I do like. But my favorite James Bond movie is I'm going to go with Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. To me, that is the best Bond movie ever made. I love everything about it. The way it was shot, the score, every action sequence in Casino Royale, it stands apart. It's so different. It has a different theme and a vibe and a style. You have the parkour chase scene in the beginning of the movie. You have the airport chase sequence. You have the scene where he's captured and he's tortured with getting hit in the nuts. And then the movie slows down and becomes a thinking man movie, which I quite enjoy, where they're just playing poker and trying to bluff one another. I like that dynamic. So I think it's like the perfect movie. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Scream 7 new poster of Ghostface's Stu. What? Let's see this. Are you sure? This looks like fan art junk to me. Is there an official poster? No, it's not. Because I'm seeing, okay, I'm seeing this right here. Okay, here's this junky one that looks like junk. Here's this. Or, this is the new poster. Is there another poster I'm unaware of? I don't know. Okay, let's go to the next question here. And the next one comes from Skylar Wheelock once again says, does knowing how hated the Game of Thrones ending is actually make watching the series more interesting and somehow still disappointing in the end? Okay. I thought I had a stroke when I was reading that. So, is the ending of Game of Thrones a bit disappointing? Yes. But man, Game of Thrones for me, the journey, the destination, whatever. But the journey is so compelling and fun. You know, watching the Lannisters and Peter Dinklage, man, that series, I think that's my favorite series of all time. It just sucks balls that the ending kind of was a letdown, but our season 8 was sort of a letdown. But up until that point, just I'll pretend like season 8 doesn't exist and I don't know what happens. How's that? So I don't think it necessarily ruins it. It doesn't ruin it until you get done with like season 6. And you're like, oh, okay, it's time for season 7 and 8. Here we go. All right, the next one comes from Lee B. Films, who says, John, would you rather have Bryan Singer's X-Men 3 or Superman Returns 2? Thoughts on Superman Returns? Brandon Routh is my favorite Superman. Interesting. I was not a big fan of Superman Returns. I didn't think Brandon Routh did much for me as Superman. I just kind of was a mopey, kind of boring Superman movie. And don't get me wrong, there's some moments of brilliance in the film, absolutely, but it never really did much for me. And I remember watching it in theaters going, okay, so Lex Luthor's plan is to make an entire landmass built out of kryptonite that looks like it's exploding and made out of like metal and titanium. And he's like, we're going to build real estate here. I'm like, who would fucking want to live there? Nobody. What are we doing? Just buy cheap property in Detroit. Call it a day, Lex. So this might be a weird opinion. I almost would pick Bryan. Well, Bryan Singer didn't direct X-Men 3. What's his face did? Brett Ratner did. So I'd probably take Brett Ratner's X-Men 3 sequel, so X-Men 4, I guess, over a Superman Returns movie. I think I would. At least it would have the Juggernaut in it, with his prosthetic arms. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Christopher Reeves is the best Superman hands down. I think he had the most charm, but I'm a Henry Cavill guy, so I'm going to go with it. Henry Cavill had the best muscle definition. Can we all agree upon that? But thanks for the question, Lee B. Films. Okay, the next one comes from 200, or Skylar Wheelock says 200-yard dash, who takes it? Between Forrest Gump, Tom Cruise, and the T-1000. Listen, man, the T-1000 is a cybernetic organism, or actually he's made out of liquid metal. Tom Cruise can run pretty fast, but listen, neither of them ran coast to coast like the great and wonderful Forrest Gump did. And neither one of them is probably as good with a ping pong paddle as Forrest Gump. So I'm going to go with Forrest Gump on that. Some kind of fruit company. All right. The next one comes from Austin Cade. How's it going, Austin? Hey, John. Watched you on and off for almost a decade and heard you have a full-time job outside of YouTube. I'm curious. Is that intentional, or is it just something to do to get you out of the house? It would seem like YouTube could be full-time. Much love, Austin. Well, thanks for the question, Austin. And I will answer your question after I take a sip of this delicious caffeinated beverage known as the Sprite Zero. I imagine when it rains in heaven, it tastes like Sprite Zero. But anyway, so originally what happened was like 2-3 years ago, I was just getting YouTube fatigue, man. I would just dread making a YouTube video. I just didn't want to sit there and talk to the camera and repeat myself and edit it. And something about it, I was like, I need something else. I need a practical job. And I was like, I don't want to give up YouTube. I'll still do YouTube part-time. But I became a project manager. And then I realized that I don't like being a project manager. I was pretty good at it, but I wouldn't say I loved it. And then I went back to YouTube for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what I want to do? I still want a practical job where I get out of the house, I move around. I like things like that. I like jobs that have practicality, a little bit of physicality, but also you use your interpersonal skills and have some technical knowledge that backs them up. So I became a home inspector, which was not the easiest thing to do, but I like it because it has autonomy to it. So I'm left alone. I don't deal with a lot of people. I just do my job and I leave. And I like that change of pace. It's kind of a weird dynamic. Like, I like doing what I'm doing now, but I also like the practical aspect of that. Now, could I do YouTube full time? Absolutely. I could. I really could. It's just making videos on topical things. It's not rocket science. It's really not. But the truth is, I like limiting what I do on YouTube. I like doing the live streams. I like talking about movies, and there's always like 10 things I want to talk about on a weekly basis. But my logic is, why sparse those out in 5 videos when I can just put them all together in a live stream? And also, a live stream is so much more enjoyable because I get instant feedback. You guys get to ask whatever you want. We talk about a multitude of topics. It's just more interesting. Like, these don't feel like chores to make. Like, live streams are fun. I enjoy them. It's like we're just hanging out talking about movies, and I can do what I do best without having to feel like the pressure of getting everything perfectly right and doing the same thing 10 times to get the perfect line delivery. And then I got to edit this shit. And it's just like, ugh, I can just do a live stream, which is fun. I like it. So I liked the dynamic of having both things. So yes, I opted into doing a normal job, not because I necessarily had to, but I kind of wanted to. I just wanted to do it. I don't know what that says about me, but maybe that's a midlife crisis. I'm not quite sure. You know what the truth is? I wanted to learn to miss and love YouTube again. I guess that makes sense, right? Plus, yeah, I wanted to get out of the house. Well, thanks for the question, man. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching for a decade. And hey, here's to another decade. I'm not going anywhere. All right, Mr. N020. How's it going, Mr. N020? Who says, "Hi, John. Did you see the Nick Cage movie, The Surfer, 2004? It's trippy." What? You mean 2024? Is that what you mean? Anyway, it's a psychologic and Cage being Cage. It didn't seem to get that much attention by big/review reaction channels. I loved the ride it took me on. Well, that's awesome, man. So I did watch it. I got a screener link like a month before the movie came out. And I got to be honest with you, I was not that into it. I kind of thought it was like blah. Like, Nick Cage does some wacky Nick Cage shit. But the entire premise of the movie, it's just like, I watched it when it came out, and I'm trying to like remember what happened, and I can't. It was about territory on the beach, and it was like a man having like a midlife crisis. I just was not into it. I thought it would be better than it was, to be completely transparent with you. So that's all. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer to give you about Nick Cage's The Surfer. But these sunglasses I'm wearing are actually from that Nick Cage movie that was very meta that came out with Pedro Pascal like 3-4 years ago. What was that called? I always forget the title of it. Anyway, these are actually sunglasses from that movie. So there's that. And thanks for the question. What's the matter? You got a party popper in your mouth or something? Let's go to the next one here. The next one comes from I Want Pancakes. Yeah, that's a better name. So much better. Here it goes. I want pancakes. I'll tell you what sounds good right now. Pancakes and bacon. I could eat that shit right now. Here it goes. Would you like it if Tom Hanks played Carl in Sling Blade and Billy Bob Thornton played Forrest Gump? Interesting. Now, that's definitely something. Now, listen, I'm not a proponent of AI, but I would like to see that AI'd. I would like to see that. That would be interesting. Now, I don't think it's appropriate because I think Billy Bob Thornton plays a special needs man that murders his family and other people much better than Tom Hanks probably would. But I think the tone of both movies shifting could be really interesting. And in another universe or parallel universe, I can see that movie existing. Reckon. Taters. Now imagine if in the movie Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks talked like Billy Bob Thornton did in Sling Blade. And then he just murders Jenny with a sling blade at the end of the movie. I don't know. Definitely interesting. And I'll tell you this. I have been meaning to watch. My wife has never seen Sling Blade. I've been meaning to watch that movie for like a year now. And listen to this. I've been looking for that movie on DVD or Blu-ray every time I go to like a physical media store because it's out of print and I will buy it immediately. Now you can buy it on eBay for like $50. I'm not doing that, but I want it. Yeah, that Nicolas Cage movie was called Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I will never remember that. Have you ever watched United 93? I don't think I have. Jenny is the villain. Oh, Jenny is definitely the villain of Forrest Gump. That is the villain of Forrest Gump. It's not Vietnam. It's nothing else. It's Jenny. Just a life destroyer. Tim Burton's Superman is called Edward Scissorhands. Fair. John, do you like the film Zombieland? I like Zombieland, but my favorite part of Zombieland was always like the first act. Like I like when Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson team up and they're going on this road trip. And I'm like, oh, okay, this looks really fun. And then they encounter Little Miss Sunshine and Emma Stone. And I'm like, it just becomes less interesting from that point on. I know. Maybe that's a weird opinion, but I wish that was like the second half of the movie. I wish it didn't happen as soon as it did. Have you ever found a sex dungeon in any of the homes you've inspected? Unfortunately not. I have found some dungeons though, man. I've seen some crazy shit. And it just begs the question. It's like someone's going to buy this and live in this. Interesting. An occasional flick trip will still be happening, however. Listen, I'll do a flick trip. I had an idea for a new channel, and maybe I could, I don't know. It would definitely be a different version of flick trips. But I had an idea. And maybe it'll come to fruition at some point. Did you see the trailer of the Burbs remake? It's a series now that doesn't look like the original at all. I thought I saw a cover of it. It kind of looked like Next Friday. Is that what I'm referring to? Is that what I'm thinking of? It even had like the cul-de-sac and everything. Or maybe it's something else. Is it a different... What is the Burbs series? Maybe I'm talking about something else. Oh no, that's it. That's... What the fuck is this? This is something else. Okay, I must be thinking of something else. I don't know. I'll probably never watch it. So, by the way, speaking of The Burbs, the 80s movie with Corey Feldman playing like the neighbor, I always enjoyed that when he's trying to slow down the neighbors from coming back, or the cops or somebody coming back, and he jumps on their car hood and he's like, "There's people in my house and they're eating all my food." I don't know why that always stuck with me. Let's just go to the next one here. The next one comes from... by the way, I want pancakes. I want a party popper. All right, the next one comes from Claudio Rowijan. How's it going, Claudio? It's not a live stream without Claudio. Here it goes. I'm ready for it. Hey, John. I've been thinking about this, but what is a so bad it's good action movie that you would recommend? One that comes to mind for me is the one with Jet Li. Oh, the one with Jet Li. The movie was ahead of its time with the multiverse stuff, though, and Dimensional Police. You know, I never really liked the one. And now my favorite thing about one was the soundtrack, because it had like all these like early 2000s like rock metal songs. This is my last resort, whatever. I think the ending of that movie ended with like a Papa Roach song. I believe it did. Let me think of, well, I don't think it's so bad it's good, but I guess you could say that. Like Con Air. Like, I don't think it's bad, but you could make the argument it's so bad it's good. I think that to me is like the ultimate action movie of sorts. That's so bad it's good. But that's my question for you guys, and let me know down below. What is your favorite action movie that's so bad it's good? I mean... I don't know. We've talked about this before, Claudio, but like Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan. It's not the best at times, especially the English dubbed version. Hey, Angelo! You know, but I like it. The new middle soundtrack. Yeah, it was good shit. I've heard James Wan wants to direct Avatar 4. Yes, please. I want James Wan to direct The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Hey, you and me, I think that would be awesome. That would get me excited. Creature from the Black Lagoon, directed by James Wan. Just film it kind of like he filmed Conjuring. Give it that same kind of nuance and quality. Face Off, yeah, I think Face Off is legitimately a good movie. I'm Castor Troy. Die Another Day 2002? No, you're lying. That's the worst movie ever made. Did you watch any guilty pleasure movies this week from J. Spaniel? Well, J. Spaniel, did I watch any guilty pleasure movies this week? I watched Shawshank Redemption. I went to the theater and watched Primate. I don't think I watched any guilty pleasure movies. I don't think I did. I haven't really had much time. I would like to, though. Speed could be called so bad it's good. I think Speed is like a great action movie. I think that's like a super well-paced action movie. So I wouldn't call it so bad. I just don't think it's like cheesy enough. But like Con Air, there's some like terribly written shit in that movie, but because of the charisma of like Cyrus the Virus and Nick Cage, like put the bunny down. Like that's a line, but he gives it with such gravitas, and I'm like, I believe what Nick Cage is saying with that shitty mullet of his. The Housemaid? I liked The Housemaid. I liked that movie. Thoughts on Logo Face says thoughts on House of a Thousand Corpses, the Rob Zombie junk movie. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was good. I like The Rock too. I think that's one of the better Michael Bay movies. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Okay, Clark1140 says, do you get anxiety from setbacks or stuff that messes up at work? If so, how do you deal with it, overcome difficulties and stress at work or with colleagues? Well, with my new job, I don't really have a lot of coworkers. But with my old job, I had upper management who just were the most incompetent morons who ever existed, who had to basically just make up things as they went to justify their existence. And they didn't know what they were talking about. But me as an employee, I had to go along with what they were saying. So I would just, to me, I just go through the motions. I just, yep. And just do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. Just nod, smile, and then go do whatever you want. I'm telling you, that's the best advice I can give you. Don't make conflict. Don't argue. It's not something you're going to win. Just nod, smile, and then go do whatever you want. That's it. But really, I've gotten to the point in life where I don't take anything personal. Like, to me, life is just like a video game. I'm just stuck in this simulation playing this game. So I go along with it. And sometimes when you think things are bad and stressful, just step back for a second. Just step back at the grand scheme of it all. It's almost comical, isn't it? The drama that happens, the things people care about that don't ultimately matter the next day. You got to laugh at it. Life is a satire. It's meant to be laughed at. So that's my best advice. And also, I'll give you this. If you just stop caring, you're free. No one has power over you anymore. You hear that? I'm not afraid anymore. Except of the pigeon lady. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Okay, Armageddon. That is the pick. Armageddon, technically speaking, is a big pile of garbage. Okay? But I love that big pile of garbage. It is so fun. It has a great score. I love Aerosmith. I think Bruce Willis in the movie is great. I think Ben Affleck's great. It has such a dynamic cast. It's got Michael Clark Duncan in the movie. I remember watching Armageddon in theaters back in 1998 as a stupid little kid. And I've shared this story once, and I will share this story again. Would you guys like to hear my Armageddon story of going to the theater? Let me know if you want. If you don't want to hear it, I won't share it. But if you do, let me know down below. Okay, I'm going to tell you anyway. So the year was 1998, and I wanted to go see the new movie Armageddon because once again, I've always been a sucker for a good disaster movie. And I could not find anyone to go to the movie theater with me. And I begged my mom. And keep in mind, back in 1998, I was like 11 years old. My mom took me to the theater. She dropped me off by myself. I went in, bought some popcorn, bought some sodas, whatever. Went and sat in the theater that said Armageddon. Now keep in mind, I'm 11 years old. I'm slightly incompetent, and I still am. But that's besides the point. I was in this theater for like an hour before the movie started. And for some odd reason, I was so excited to be there that I didn't really notice it. And then during the third act of the movie, before they're about to save the planet and blow up the asteroid, all of a sudden, some manager guy with his flashlight comes beside me, taps me on the shoulder, and says, "Are you John?" I go, "Yeah." He's like, "Come with me." I guess my mom had been waiting in the lobby for me for like an extra hour because I went to the later showing of the movie that I wasn't supposed to go to because I'm too stupid to look at the showtime on the marquee. So everyone thought I was abducted. And then the most unfortunate thing about all of this is I was really enjoying the movie. I had to wait until that shit hit VHS to finally know what the ending was. I didn't know if they saved Earth. I didn't know Bruce Willis sacrificed himself. I had to wait like 4 months to figure this out. So anyway, that's my story of watching Armageddon in the movie theater. And the best part of Armageddon is definitely Liv Tyler. Absolutely. I don't want to miss a thing because I miss you. And I don't want to miss a thing. It's good shit. Yes. So let's go to the next topic here. And the next one comes from... But anyway, thank you for the question, Clark, and you get a party popper. So good luck at work, man. I don't even know how we got there. The next one comes from Cali2Zone, who says, funny movie theater stories of others in the audience. Trying to think. Let me think here. There's been so many over the years. Okay. I don't think I've shared this one ever. this was back in the early 2000s. We had a brand new movie theater open up. It was like the stadium seating. It was like the first big stadium seating theater in my town. It was called Rave Motion Pictures. And I think they've since went out of business. But anyway, the theater, for like the first 5 years that it was open in the early 2000s, was packed. Every movie was always packed on a Friday and Saturday night. And keep in mind, this was like prehistoric times. This was before you could reserve a seat before you went to the theater. So you had to show up or get there early or hope if you got there late that you could find a seat. And if you got there late, you had the neck breakers in the front row. Anyway, I can't specifically remember the movie, but it was one of the bigger movies. And we were in a packed auditorium. And there was probably like, I don't know, 2 open seats, but not together in this entire auditorium. So this dude walks in with his girlfriend, and he's looking around, and you hear somebody yell from the top, "Hey, there's some open seats up here." And then they walk all the way up there, and the guy goes, "Oh, I was just kidding." And the dude that walked all the way up there with his girlfriend kind of felt like he was being punked out. He took the fucking popcorn and like threw it at the dude, and they got into a shoving match. And I think like they delayed the start of the movie by 5 minutes because security or the police or something had to come in there and escort them out. But I vaguely remember that. Was that, I don't know if that was funny. I was kind of just thinking to myself, I just hope they play the movie. But also I will say this. Reserving theater seats ahead of time so you can just get there when you want to get there and you know where you're sitting, that was the best decision movie theaters have ever made. It really is. Okay, let's go to the next one here. Dustin Rich says, I have never enjoyed a single Aerosmith song. Well, that's really unfortunate, man. They got some good stuff. Peacock Sucker Punch says, do you guys remember the Aerosmith video game? There was literally a video game, an arcade game back in the 90s, where you had like a machine gun, and I forget what it was called, but it had like the entire premise of the game was like themed around Aerosmith. Like David Tyler or whatever his name was would come out there at the end of like one of the levels and go, "Good job doing what you did, but let's see if you can do it again." And they'd play like Aerosmith songs, and you'd have like a machine gun shooting bad guys. Does anyone, I got to show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm not making this up. Aerosmith arcade game. Here it is, man. I remember playing this shit at the arcade when I was a kid. Yeah, look at this. This was a thing. This existed. It was from Midway. Revolution X, that's what it was called. That is a deep childhood memory that I suppressed for the last 30 years. This is what it looked like. Look how shitty it looked. Wow. Yeah, here it is. Like you blow up shit and like listen to Aerosmith. So maybe that's the best way to listen to Aerosmith if you don't like them, I guess. I don't know. All right. I never had the coordination for Guitar Hero. I just could never get good at it. Steven Tyler. Yes, Steven Tyler. Remember the Aerosmith roller coaster? Yeah, at I don't remember the roller. I remember the ride, the rock and roll roller coaster at Universal that just closed down. All right. All right, the next one comes from Big K Movies and Games. How's it going, man? I watched Tron Ares the other day, and halfway through, Jared Leto crawled out of my TV and tickled my pink. Overall, I had a pretty good time. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed Tron Ares because that shit's going to my top 10 worst of the year. And the next live show that we do will, in fact, be talking about my top 10 best and top 10 worst movies of the year. I did not like that movie. I thought they took an idea and just went the complete and opposite wrong direction. I don't know about you, but when I think of Tron, I don't want to see a warehouse with a big 3D printer in it for an hour and a half. And that's sort of what we got with Jared Leto. One of the worst actors that is just box office poison, in my opinion. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, man, and I hope he tickled that pink really good. So anyway, thanks for the question. Robert Giacinta 6323 says, impression of Sean Chandler ranking Cool Duder's sweaty hats. You're getting really niche on the YouTube side of things here. I don't know. He'd probably say something like, I don't know. How do I even do this? And for his next sweaty hat that he filmed on the set of Zombie Ate My Neighbors Part 7, I don't know, man. That's all I got. Can I do my Cool Duder impression instead? Hey guys, here's my DVD update for September 9th, 1995. Hey, I will say this. If you don't know who Cool Duder is, I will tell you my backstory. Sean C. Phillips is the first YouTube channel I ever subscribed to. I remember it was him and his buddy going to movie theaters, buying movies, being kind of weird, and I was like into it back in 2009, 8. All right, Cali2Zones32 says, or Cali2Zona32 says, I keep getting your name wrong. I will get it right, I promise. Does Will Smith deserve to regain his reputation, as it has now been 4 years since he slapped Chris Rock? Can you do a double impression of the incident? I don't know. What did he... Get my wife's name out your mouth because I'm a cuck. No, listen, my thing is with Will Smith. Listen, Will Smith has been in a lot of great iconic movies over the years, and I will always cherish those movies. Welcome to Earth, Chris Rock. But man, you can't slap people in the face because you got cucked out by your wife and you're having troubles at home. If you can't take comedy, then I don't respect you as a person. So I don't think he deserves a second chance. I really don't. But with all that said, who cares? The guy has hundreds of millions of dollars. Why does he care if he's relevant unless he's some narcissist, which most Hollywood actors are? But why does he still need to act? What's the point? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go to award shows and star in shitty B-rate movies that go straight to Netflix. You can just sit at home or go on a yacht. You don't have to do any of these things. I don't understand it. So to answer your question, I think he comes across like an asshole. All right. Logan CD says, John, what is the craziest thing you've seen someone in a theater do? Someone at my theater ordered Chinese on the phone loudly, had it delivered mid-movie, and then portioned it out to his kids. Oh, man, there's nothing worse than watching a movie with the smell of orange chicken emanating. I remember one time, it was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think. It's like some hillbilly family came in there with their little infant child who was like whiny as soon as they brought it in. And like, I think like the guy or the lady, she wasn't wearing shoes. She was just walking around in her bare feet, like some Appalachian lady. And like, you can't get mad at the baby. It's not the baby's fault. Its parents are troglodytes or inbred. But those are consequences it's going to deal with, genetically speaking. But anyway, my point is, that was probably, and the baby cried throughout the movie, obviously. You know, it's an R-rated movie with with people screaming and chainsaws. So clearly not the most inducive environment for a baby who's trying to sleep at 11:30 at night. Not even listen, if you're going to bring your baby to an R-rated slasher flick, at least do it at the matinee show, okay? Okay, fine. If you want to be white trash, that's where you do it. You don't do it at night. Okay, let's go to the next one. Skylar Wheelock says, does Brian De Palma's use of Dutch angles, paranoia, and double cross make Mission Impossible 1 compelling than the later stunt-driven entries. I thought the Dutch angles in the first Mission Impossible felt appropriate, but those later movies just sucked anyway. So I don't think the Dutch angles did anything other than a disservice. Okay. And by the way, Kelly, Zona, it's not a slap in the face, but it's a party popper. There you go. Okay, the next one comes from Logan CD 1636. Logan, man, you are killing it tonight, man. Thank you so much. John, it's conducive, not inducive. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Talking 2 hours unedited, unfiltered, I misspoke. Please forgive me. It happens. I will now punish myself. I still think the word inducive I can make work somehow, technically speaking. What is the definition of inducive? Hang on. Why are we looking this up? I gotta know. I'm still going to go with it. Okay, let's go to the next one. I don't even think it's a word. Okay, let's go to it's a word to me. Let's go to the next one. And the next one comes from Kelly Tuzo, or I'm sorry, this one comes from Logan. Okay, sorry. This one comes from Logan. John, what is the craziest? Didn't we just answer this? Oh, we answered that already. All right, Cali 2 Zones 32, or Cali 2 Zona, I will get it right one of these days. 32 says, it's been over a decade since M. Night Shyamalan ended his epic losing streak. None of his films since Visit have been that bad. What happened during 06 to 13? Let me reread this question. It's been over a decade since M. Night Shyamalan ended his epic losing streak? He's still making shitty movies. What are you talking about, man? Did you watch Glass? Did you see the ending to it? Are you saying he's making good movies lately? And what was the last M. Night Shyamalan? What was that last movie he made? It was like The Island or something. Or Old or whatever it was. Where they go to the island and they age on the beach. He produced Watchers, which was an abomination. Oh, he made Trap. I thought Trap was like the first act was good, and then it just went downhill from there. That concert movie, yeah. Yeah, I think he's still making bad movies, man. I think he's getting really good at it, too. Yeah, the ending to Glass made me mad as well. He just dies in a puddle. What an underwhelming, anticlimactic ending. And if that's what he was going for, I guess so be it. But man, what a disservice. Yeah, the last great movie he made for me was Split. Split was a phenomenal movie. I have no problems with Split. I think it's phenomenal. Peacock Sucker Punch says, hey, John, remember that movie Guy and M gave you a ton of money for their super chats? Are they poor now? I have no clue who they were. I have my suspicions that maybe one of them was a YouTuber, but I'm not quite sure. But I don't know what happened to them. I wish they'd come back. Logo Face says, do you still think Jill will show up in Scream 7? Maybe. I just give me Stu being a killer. That's all I need. I don't care about anything else. Okay, the next one comes from Cali 2 Zona 32, who says, does Stranger Things represent your state well? Oh, well, Stranger Things does take place in Hawkins, Indiana. I do live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I would say, yeah. I think it looks like kind of a small town in Indiana that you would come across. Sure, I think that's believable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I think it's plausible. As plausible as kids going on a fantastical journey with a demented tormentor named Vecna, and he lives in another dimension. Yes, I think that's plausible. But anyway, thanks for the questions. All right, we got one here from Brittany Gym Lover who says, thoughts on Euphoria Season 3 trailer. I skipped Season 2. I liked Season 2. I thought Season 2 was like, it got really dark and weird, but also funny and hilarious at other times. We talked about the trailer earlier. I mean, it looks like Rue's like going to religion, but also selling drugs or something. We had Sydney Sweeney starting an OnlyFans, which is, that gets 2 thumbs up from me. So it looks like they know what they're doing. They're working with what they got. And by the way, let me get that off the screen. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious how it ends. Maybe in Euphoria Season 3, everyone gets their Stranger Things ending. Maybe they're all sitting around a table and they all get their nice send-off and we all cry. Peacock Sucker Punch says, John, did you watch the video Stranger Things adults watching their first interviews as kids? I did see some of that, yeah, on TikTok. Someone said Emma Roberts is so fine. Yeah, Emma Roberts is definitely cute. Dustin Rich says, my dad died in a puddle. Not funny. That's a lie. It's kind of funny. John versus the Pigeon Lady, WWE Raw. Oh, I quit. Disqualification, won't go in there. If I get that bird shit on my face, nah. Dustin Rich says, there's a Flickinger road near Akron, but my GPS pronounces it differently. Do you mispronounce your own name? Everyone mispronounces my last name. Flickinger, it's been mispronounced my entire life. It's a jern, not a gur. Brittany Gym Lover also says, nice slim fitting hoodie. How did you lose so much weight? Well, thank you for the compliments on my slim fitting hoodie. I will tell you this. In the last 4 months, I have lost probably about 25 pounds. I am slimming down. And it's just doing a different job every other day. It's just days that I go work, I don't really eat. So I have lost weight. Also, I've kind of lost my appetite for eating junk. Don't get me wrong. If I go to a movie, that is my time to binge. I binge like a little fat kid in the movie theater. I take my Swedish fish. I take my buffalo flavored pretzels. I get some popcorn. I always bring 2 beverages with me. I bring a Dr. Pepper and a Sprite because I need to change up the flavor halfway through the movie. And I eat. But man, I just stopped snacking as much. And it just the weight just drips off. It's crazy. Undertone trailer, have you seen it? I don't think so. John, can you hold up some random Blu-rays that movie studio sent you? I don't have any new ones as of right now. Libby Films says, I'd rather see X-Men 3 by Bryan Singer than Superman Returns 2. Would you rather see Tim Burton's Superman or George Miller's Justice League? I don't think that Justice League movie that we were supposed to get back in 2007 would ever have been a good movie. They were going to have Armie Hammer play Batman. Yeah, I'm good on that junk ass shit. Ugh, that sounds like a straight to DVD movie. It would have been interesting. It definitely would have been interesting, but they did not have a good idea for that movie. I don't think it would have been good. I think it would have been a disaster. So I much rather would have seen Tim Burton's Superman movie. To watch Nicolas Cage play Superman in a 1990s Superman movie directed by Tim Burton, when Tim Burton was he still had it, that would have been an experience. And I wish that was part of the cinematic history that exists. Oh, like even if it sucked, don't you wish you could have experienced it? Okay, the next one comes from. And by the way, guys, I still have like 5 or 6, 7 more questions. I'm gonna answer all the questions you guys get in for like the next minute or so. But if you have any questions, now is the time to get them in. Even if you guys are members or in the normal chat, you got any good questions? Type them in. I'll try to answer as many things as I possibly can, and we'll keep talking here for probably another 15, 20 minutes. So I'm not going anywhere. Don't leave. Don't leave me. Don't you ever leave me. Okay, the next one comes from Lee B Films. Here it goes. By the way, Lee B Films, here's your party popper. Imagine a 2000s crossover movie with Spider-Man, Wolverine, Hulk, and Ghost Rider. Toby, Banner, Hugh Jackman, and Cage. Yeah, it could have been interesting. I don't know if that's the most fulfilling superhero team up I've ever seen. It feels like it's missing a little something. But nevertheless, I would like to experience it, yes. Like, Eric Bana's Hulk. Like, could you imagine him standing beside Nicolas Cage? I really want you to close your eyes and picture that. Okay, let's move on. Well, thanks for the question, man. Brittany Gym Lover back again says, what's the top 10 best and worst of 2025? You lied. Oh, where is it? I just mentioned it earlier. It's going to be in the next live show. The reason I didn't put it in tonight was because it's Wednesday, and I probably will do it Saturday, or I will either do the next live show Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'm not quite sure, but it'll be one of those 3 days this upcoming week. And the reason I didn't have time to do it is because I need to insert all these graphics in between into my editing software for my live shows. I got to have the countdown. I got to have the movie posters. So I just need some time to do that. And I have not had any time to do any of this shit for like the last week and a half. So I'm trying. I promise you. In the next live show, we will either talk about top 10 best or top 10 worst or all of the top 10s of 2025. So thank you for the question. And Peacock Sucker Punch has become a member. Yay! Thanks, Peacock Sucker Punch. I like how that's the name you decided on. Johnny Bananas, what is your best story of your life related to a weather event? Okay, I'll give you one. Now listen. When it comes to the best story of my life related to a weather event, it's very specific. Now, this isn't the best story of my life, but it is a story that happened in my life. Let's go back to the year 2004. It was 4th of July weekend. It was a very, very rainy, stormy weekend. And at the time, I would record a lot of things with my video camera. I was doing jackass wannabe stuff, except I called it losers. It was me and a group of my friends, and we would just do the most bombastic dumb shit whenever we got a chance. But it was 4th of July, so we went out and bought a whole bunch of Roman candles. And of course, one thing led to another, and the next thing I know is I'm running around naked in my backyard with 5 of my best friends who may or may not have been naked as well, or in their underwear at least. And it was stormy, it was raining, it was like 6 o'clock at night. And I had a very large backyard growing up, so it wasn't like I like my neighbors were watching us. It was a very large backyard. And I set my video camera up, and for like the next 15 minutes, what you see on this video camera, and I wish I still had the footage. I lost the tapes a long time ago. But you just see a group of dudes running around naked, shooting Roman candles at each other, jumping over swing sets, down slides, just running past the camera. And it was a thing of glory that could never be recreated or duplicated, nor should it be. And it's probably best that this footage was lost, because I feel like owning it would technically be illegal to some regard. But anyway, I remember running around in the rain, just shooting those Roman candles at my friends, just aiming for their faces. But it was in the most friendly way of camaraderie that you could ever ask for. And it was a beautiful moment, a bonding moment that I'll never forget. As the rain poured down and those flames shot overhead, it was truly Independence Day, and I never felt more free, spiritually or physically, because I wasn't wearing underwear. So that's a weather-related story, and I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, that footage would definitely put me on a registry now. I'm glad it's gone. Now, listen, I think what happened was I had a box of mini DV tapes, and my mom had a garage sale back in like 2006 or something. And that box of mini DV tapes were put somewhere in the garage sale or something. I don't remember what happened, but a lot of them were like in another box. And that box had some other stuff in it that got sold at the garage sale. Now, somebody either owns that or those ended up in a landfill. But either way. But yeah, Murph, you're right. Have you seen Free Solo? What is Free Solo? What is that? That sounds really familiar. Let me look up Free Solo, the trailer. Let's see. Free... Oh, is this the free climbing? Oh, yeah. I watched this. This is the free climber guy who climbed up the mountain without any harnesses, and he did it freestyle, which just makes my palms sweat thinking about it. But he has a new Netflix live show coming out where he climbs the top of a building in some, I don't know, country in Asia or something. That looks really cool. That shit gets my palms sweaty, man, because I am not a fan of heights. But yeah, I have seen it. Okay, the next one comes from Michael Starbuck. Thank you, Michael Starbuck. Did you watch The Substance? I watched it last night. It seemed like a softcore video. Well, hey, it's the best version of softcore with practical body dysmorphia. I love The Substance. Where have you been? I've been talking about that movie for 2 years, man. It was my number one movie of the year when it came out. Go watch my top 10 list from that year. I loved The Substance. I thought Margaret Qualley was phenomenal in it. I thought Demi Moore was great. I loved the concept. I loved the body dysmorphia. I loved the way that it was shot and filmed. Now, the third act goes a little bit off the rails. But man, it's such a gross movie. I was glued to it. I love it. I love The Substance. I love when movies just like push the limits, but they're made so well with like great performances, with a really cool concept. And that's what The Substance gave me. So yes, I love The Substance. Would I take The Substance? I don't know. Maybe. It depends. I feel like me and the younger version of me could definitely get along though. I'm just putting it out there. I think we could share it. Like, I'll hide on the bathroom floor as you go out and live your dreams. That's fine. Claudia Rogajon back again says, are you going to watch the new Ben Affleck and Matt Damon movie, The Rip? I'm glad you brought this up, Claudio, because I do want to talk about it. It actually looks kind of cool, but to be honest, I'm only excited because Scott Adkins is in the movie playing Affleck's brother. I hope there's a cool fight scene with him. Why else would you cast Scott Adkins in your movie if you're not going to have a cool fight scene? He's not the best actor, but he's a great martial artist. I will watch The Rip. The thing about The Rip, though, is it just looks like the definition of a Netflix movie, doesn't it? It just looks really generic, really digital, really bland. It looks like a culmination of 17 other movies you've already seen. But, like, even the charisma of, like, Affleck and Damon, it just sort of looks like they're there collecting a paycheck. And some of the dialogue in the trailer was just the most like cliche shit I've ever heard. It's like, hey, if I got to do this, I'm going to do what I got to do. Well, if I got to do this, I'm going to do what I got to do. And it's just like, okay, what's happening here? But I'll check it out, man. All right, we got one here from Morden. How's it going, Morden? And thanks for the super chat, man. And you get a glorious, epic party popper. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go on with the question here. Hey, John, hope life is going well for you. It's going okay. You know, there's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of what have yous, but living life as well as I can, trying to find my place and straightening out my microphone as I do so, but it's going pretty good. And as far as today goes, you know, it was a good day. My wife made tacos. I'm really looking forward to eating those reheated tacos after this live show. I'm here talking to you guys about movies, blowing up party poppers, wearing a John Cena hoodie, gonna watch 28 Years Bone Temple tomorrow. And you know what? I live life 1 week at a time. And as far as this week goes, I'd say it's going pretty good. I don't have any major complaints. How's everyone else's life going? But let's continue on. What are your favorite buddy films? Some of mine are August Underground, Withnail, and I, Butch Cassidy, and the Sundance Kid, Sideways. Anyways, thanks for always being here. Well, thanks for that, man. Thank you so much. What was the August Underground? Why does that not ring a bell to me? August Underground. I see a video. Is that a movie? What? Is it? Is this a movie you're talking? I don't know what this is. Oh, here. What the fuck is it? Oh, here. Okay. It's from 2001. Two serial killers go on a murdering rampage as one films the outcome from behind the video camera. Holy shit, man. That sounds dark. Look at... Okay. So one of your favorite buddy team up movies is a snuff film, and that's cool. I respect that. That looks dark. Why have I not heard about this, man? It's only an hour long. It's got a 3.5 out of 10. That's interesting though, man. Okay. Well, I was thinking something slightly lighter, but then again, it involves dead bodies. One of my favorite buddy team up movies are movies about camaraderie or coming of age stories. Is Stand By Me. A group of 4 friends walking down the train tracks to discover a dead body. Like that adventure that they go on in Stand By Me, I would give anything to be part of that group walking down the train tracks in the 1960s as a 12-year-old kid. To me, that looked like the best time of life. That looks so fun to me, and I still love it. But on a lighter note, like I like other buddy team up movies. Like, I don't know, like Sandlot always looked fun. Trying to think of some other one. If you guys have any, let me. I mean, I guess Superbad is a buddy team up movie to some degree. I like that. I'm trying to think what else here. I mean, I'm not going to say like Lethal Weapon, though. I guess you could. It's definitely a buddy team up cop movie. Nice Guys. Let's see. I know there's probably something else I'm not thinking of. The movie Kids. That's a buddy team up movie, I guess, according to Google. The best buddy team up movies are Doc and Marty. Yeah, Doc and Marty and Back to the Future. That is a great duo. How did they meet? We'll never know. I have my assumptions, just putting it out there. But anyway, yeah, absolutely. Rush Hour, Beverly Hills Cop, yeah. Bill and Ted, great team up. Marty! Hey, Doc! I feel like I have to go to a shady website to see August Underground. Yeah, it definitely only exists on the dark web, man. Dustin Rich says, does it bother you that your cheap party poppers are made in a sweatshop by 8-year-olds? No, and I thank them for making them, for the entertainment value of everyone watching right now. But does it bother you that the Nike shoes that you're wearing on your feet were made by a 9-year-old child? That's the way I feel about party poppers. They exist. Why would I not indulge? But anyway, thank you so much for the question, Immortan. Thank you so much, man. You're too good to me. And we can be buddies. Here it goes. Now, do I want to be buddies who take an old VHS camera and murder people and record it? Maybe. That's maybe another day. But that kind of reminds me of like the movie Bully, where you have the two, they're buddies until the one buddy decides to kill his friend. But he was an asshole and he deserved it. The Nice Guys, but with Mark Wahlberg and Nick Cage. Or like a buddy dynamic like in like Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer in the movie Heat. That's a good or like Alfred and Bruce Wayne. There's a good buddy dynamic. Detroit Rock City. That's a cool buddy movie. Those guys were funny to hang. Yeah, Detroit Rock City is such an underrated movie. If you've never seen Detroit Rock City and you want a good like coming of age, more of a buddy movie. It's got Edward Furlong. Came out in 1999. Such an underrated movie. Definitely check it out. I think you guys will enjoy it if you've never seen it. But a lot of fun. It takes place in the 70s, and it's about this group of kids who have a Kiss cover band. And they basically want to go to Detroit to see Kiss. And they get on this crazy journey of like crazy shit happening as they get there. Each of the kids have a different personality. It's really funny, super well made, but very low budgeted movie. Definitely recommend checking it out. That's one movie I've been meaning to get on Blu-ray for like a long time. So, yeah, definitely check that out. Imagine a Nick Cage and Mark Wahlberg buddy movie. You know what's funny about that? I actually did a video doing impressions of Nick Cage and Mark Wahlberg in a buddy team-up movie. I did that on one of my earlier Q&A videos on this channel back in 2011. Yeah, that exists somewhere. Anyway. Hey, Nick, what are you doing over there? Well, Mark, I'm taking my party poppers out. I'm getting crazy. I'm a little wired. Bob, Jane Silent Bob, great team up. Maverick and Goose. Well, you know, that's... Maverick kind of got Goose killed, just putting it out there. It's on YouTube. Okay, we can watch the child murdering movie on YouTube, everyone. I might watch a little bit of it just to see what you're talking about, man. But anyway, thanks for the question once again to Morden. John, Bully is a disgusting movie. All the characters were terrible. It's seedy. I know. That's why I like it. I like seedy movies like that. And the movie Bully makes me feel uncomfortable. Just the way that dude directed the movie makes me feel uncomfortable. I think there's something to be said about the director of that movie. Yeah, but Uranium Cranium, Bob and Jay. So doesn't hurt said Human Centipede. I guess you got to have some teamwork in that. Wild Bill and the Lotion, or Wild Bill and Precious. That's a great team up. But anyway, I think on that note, it definitely puts the lotion on the skin. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there tonight, guys. But we have been talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I do want to say, guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the live show. I hope it was fulfilling and slightly cathartic. But much appreciated as per usual. We got one here from Libby Films who says, John, James Wan is actually supposed to direct the Creature from the Black Lagoon film. Makes sense since he did Aquaman. Yeah, but I think the Creature from the Black Lagoon will probably be much scarier and darker and less bombastic. Or at least I hope it is. With less Amber Heard. Peacock Sucker Punch says, did you ever play the Rockstar game called Bully? I didn't play it. I never got into it. John, did you see Regal has a different movie every day this month? Yeah, I wanted to watch Hook there around Christmas time. Never got around to it. Time flew by, as it always does when we're having fun. Dustin Rich says, I feel fulfilled. Well, good. I do too. And I got one party popper left, and this is for all of you. So with all that said, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I will see you this weekend with a brand new live show. We will talk about top 10 best, top 10 worst movies of 2025, or maybe my most anticipated movies of 2026. But I will definitely talk about one of those three topics on the next live show. As always, have a great night. I'll see you guys next time. And also we will talk about 28 years later, Bone Temple, on the next live show. All right, take care. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.